goals is to define and provide examples of the key actors in international relations and world political states, international organizations, non-governmental organizations, and individual practitioners. We live in an era of increasing globalization and people have ambivalent feelings about it. Globalization advocates point to the great gain for human welfare, interaction among ourselves, and liberties many of us enjoy. Others, however, point out some of the downsides of globalization, environmental degradation, labor exploitation, rapid spread of viruses and other diseases across international borders, and the transnational reach of criminals and terrorist groups. The issue of globalization, the continual increase in worldwide economic, social, and cultural interaction that transcend the boundaries of states and the result political implications. These interactions are aided by advances in technologies. This definition does not presume globalization has a uniform impact on any one particular society, group, or classes, nor does it assume its political impact is necessarily a force for peace or conflict. Global finance continued to accelerate with the formation and integration of financial markets around the world. New York may still be number one, but nightly business programs report the closing in London, Frankfurt, Paris, and Hong Kong as well, due to communication breakdowns and the commonplace use of computers. Billions of dollars in trades occur each day. Actors' collective effort are the primary means by which people achieve security, economy, welfare, or a common identified indeed. Throughout history, humanity has recognized that pooling of resources and energy is generally the most efficient way for individuals or groups to fulfill their wants and needs. We emphasize the following actors in terms of international relations and world politics. The number one is states, 2 international organizations, 3 non-governmental organizations, and 4 individuals. I'm going to explain the number one. States. Much of our discussion revolves around states, a geographical entity and governmental by a central authority. The state is traditionally viewed as the most important of 3 basic organizations in the previous list. States take the lead in entity to defend the physical security of the population, ensures economic welfare of its citizens, provides a focus for loyalty and identify, and claims sovereignty. This means it's later claimed to represent and exercise authority over all persons within the state's territory and claims a right to autonomy internationally. International organizations and institutions composed of states as members, for example, the United Nations, European Nation, and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. A dramatic expansion of IOs and NGOs occurred in the 20th century, ranging from military alliance of the security realm to UN-related organizations concerned not just with security but also with economy and social issues. Wherever influence IOs may have in particular functional areas such as financial, land, or meditation efforts, their key role may come to be purveyors of global norm basic values that over time states come to take seriously. For example, will many states around the world continue to violate human rights? Over the years, norms have evolved that allow outsiders to make this issue a matter of international and foreign policy discussion and even punishment or sanction. Non-governmental organizations, NGOs, transnational organizations that have a standing independent of governments that often with a diverse membership that works to fulfill specific political, social or economic objectives. The private sector economy organization. The term NGO for non-profit organization we apply it to all non-governmental organizations, including international corporations, most of which are private sector and to non-governmental organizations. However, is the influence major corporation and banking institutions rarely have on the economies of states, particularly those in the developing world, depends on foreign investment. Transnational NGOs claim to have a broader constitutionality than MNCs of international banks. In their attempt to help define the international agenda, they often act as presumed groups to influence international organizations or states' behavior. More generally, NGOs increase global awareness of child's diverse topics as ozone layer depletion, deforestation, epidemics and famine, religious persecutions, genocide, and human rights in general. They also advance agendas for dealing with such problems. Their membership also tend to be multinational along with the states. International and non-government organizations play important roles in global governments, coordinating, cooperating, and even collaborating on social, economic, and political matters that cannot so easily be resolved or managed by any one state or other actor alone. The humanitarian non-governmental organizations attempt to avoid overly political roles. The best examples are humanitarian left organizations such as Doctors Without Borders and a myriad of transnational programs in Africa and Asia that seek to improve the quality of life of the poor. If such an NGO engaged in political and took sides in civil and international conflict, it will most likely to be denied access to combat zones. Then non-state armed groups. Terrorists often claim to represent borders constitutionally, whereas some national criminal organizations prefer to focus on their narrow economic agendas, becoming involved in politics only when the pursuit of their ill-gotten gains is threatened. Individuals, however, that will states, international organizations, and non-governmental organizations are viewed as scale actors in world politics. Such entities are made of flesh and blood human beings. Individuals certainly make a difference, whether Mahatma Gandhi in India or Nelson Mandela in South Africa. States do not make the decision to go to war. People in their governments or societies do. So it is with the people who make up IOs and NGOs. Security, economy, and identify. Security is often viewed in terms of the basic survival, welfare, and protection of the state existing in an international system of states characterized by self-help. Each security in its own position in the global order as best it can. but states may place varying degrees of fighting the role of international organization, alliance, and negotiated agreements ranging from trade and commerce to control armaments as a means to enhance security. The economy generally revolves around trade, monetary issues, the relative value and reserves of currency held at a value to Treasury and central bank officials, finance for trade and invest, for aid, health, and the environment. Economy issues are particularly important as they influence a state's sovereign power. For many observers, the international economy is a critical aspect of world politics and raises issues of global disparities and inequalities. Identify in terms of international relations and world politics. Identify is the most economy often associated with the states and nation and the values, culture, and people who fall within that state's borders. Although some ethics, tribal, or others identify may extend beyond the borders of any one state. Thus, international movements may also be purveyors of emergent identifies that parallel or transcend those associated with the states. Identify may also be based on economic class and its may also transcend any state boundary. These interactions are aided by technologies that enable financial and trade transactions and encourage the rapid dissemination of politics as well as cultural ideals and values. The struggle over these three goals helps to explain much of the conflict and cooperation evident today in international relations and world politics. Thanks for watching.